What I'm about to tell you is something most men have never actually been taught. Not in school, not from your dad, not from anyone. We're taught to shave, we're taught to brush our teeth, but nobody ever sat us down and explained how to actually wash our face. So we just default to whatever feels clean. Scrub hard, use hot water, maybe grab whatever bar soap is sitting in the shower. And for years, nothing seems wrong. Until one day you're in the mirror under bad lighting and you notice something. Fine lines that weren't there before, dry patches, a kind of tightness and dullness that makes you look older than you actually are. Here's the truth. The way you wash your face every single day is either preserving your skin or quietly aging it. There's no neutral option. And most men, without knowing it, are doing the second one. Not because they're lazy or don't care, but because nobody ever explained the actual mechanics of what washing does to your skin and what happens when you do it wrong, day after day, for years. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to break down the specific face washing mistakes that are quietly aging your skin, explain the science of why they're doing damage, and then give you the actual correct way to wash your face. Step by step, no fluff. By the end of this, you'll understand not just what to change, but why it matters. And that understanding is what makes you actually stick with it, instead of forgetting in 2 weeks. But before we get into the mistakes, you need the framework. Because none of this will click unless you understand what your skin is actually doing every time water and soap touch it. Think of your skin like a wall, not a flat, lifeless wall, a living one, built out of cells, oils, and a thin protective film that dermatologists call the skin barrier. This barrier is made up of lipids, natural oils, and dead skin cells arranged in a very specific structure, almost like bricks held together by mortar. Its entire job is to do two things at once: keep moisture in and keep irritants, bacteria, and pollution out. When that barrier is healthy, your skin looks plump, even-toned, and resilient. When that barrier is damaged, your skin starts leaking moisture it can't afford to lose, becomes more reactive to everything, and, this is the part most men don't realize, ages visibly faster. A compromised barrier means more fine lines, more dryness, more redness, more breakouts, and a kind of dull, tired look that no amount of sleep fixes. Your skin isn't just reacting to age, it's reacting to how it's been treated. And washing your face is the single most repeated action you take on that barrier. You do it once or twice a day, every day, for decades. So if the technique is wrong, you're not making one mistake. You're making thousands of tiny mistakes that compound over years. That's the part that should actually worry you a little. It's not one bad day, it's a pattern. Now, let's get into the actual mistakes. These are the habits I see in almost every man who's never been taught otherwise. Mistake 1. Washing with hot water. This feels good, especially in the shower, but heat is one of the fastest ways to strip your skin barrier. Hot water melts away the natural oils, the same oils your skin needs to stay protected, much faster than warm or cool water does. You step out feeling extra clean, but what's actually happened is your skin's lipid layer has been stripped thinner than it should be. Do that daily, for years, and that barrier never gets a chance to fully rebuild. It's like power washing a paint job every single day. Eventually, the paint just doesn't hold anymore. Mistake 2. Using bar soap or harsh cleansers made for your body, not your face. A lot of men just use whatever soap is in the shower. The problem is that most bar soaps and body washes have a high pH designed to cut through body grime, sweat, and odor. Your facial skin has a much more delicate, slightly acidic natural pH, somewhere around 4.5 to 5.5, and that acidity is actually protective. It helps good bacteria thrive and keeps harmful bacteria in check. Harsh, high pH soap disrupts that balance every time you use it, leaving your skin more vulnerable to irritation, breakouts, and yes, premature aging, because an unbalanced, inflamed barrier breaks down collagen faster. Mistake 3. Scrubbing like you're trying to remove a stain. This one's almost universal. Men associate clean with friction. The harder you scrub, the cleaner you must be getting. But your skin isn't a dish. Physically scrubbing, especially with rough washcloths, abrasive scrubs, or aggressive hand pressure, creates micro tears in that barrier we just talked about. Over time, this kind of repeated mechanical stress leads to chronic low-grade inflammation, and inflammation is one of the biggest accelerators of visible aging there is. It breaks down collagen and elastin, the proteins that keep skin firm and bouncy, faster than almost anything else you're doing. Mistake 4. Overwashing. Washing your face 4, 5, 6 times a day because you feel oily or you're trying to control acne. This backfires in a very specific way. Every wash strips some oil. Your skin senses that loss and, in response, often ramps up oil production to compensate. So you end up oilier between washes, which makes you want to wash more, which strips more oil, and the cycle keeps feeding itself while your barrier gets weaker the entire time. Instead, Just wipe the oil with gentle tissue or a clean personal cloth. Press. Don't rub. Gently press the tissue or cloth against the skin for a few seconds to absorb the oil. Avoid dragging or rubbing, as this can irritate the skin barrier and cause redness. Plus, use lint-free tissues or soft antibacterial microfiber cloths to prevent fiber transfer and micro tears. Mistake 5. Skipping moisturizer afterward because moisturizer is for women, or my skin doesn't need it. This is probably the most damaging belief in the entire list, because washing, even when done correctly, removes some natural oil. If you don't replace that with a proper moisturizer immediately after, you're leaving your barrier in a stripped, vulnerable state for hours until your skin slowly recovers on its own. Do that twice a day for 10 years, and you've essentially kept your skin in a low-grade compromised state for a decade. That shows up as fine lines, dullness, and that dry, papery texture you sometimes see on older men who never moisturize a day in their life. So why does all of this actually accelerate aging specifically? Here's the mechanism. Every time your barrier is damaged by heat, harsh soap, friction, or dehydration, your skin triggers an inflammatory response to repair itself. Inflammation, even low-grade and invisible, releases enzymes called matrix metalloproteinases that break down collagen and elastin. Collagen and elastin are literally the scaffolding that keeps your skin firm, smooth, and youthful. Break that scaffolding down repeatedly, faster than your body can rebuild it, and the visible result is exactly what you'd expect: sagging, fine lines, rough texture, and a tired, aged appearance, years before it should actually happen. This is also backed by dermatological research. Studies on skin barrier function consistently show that a compromised barrier correlates with accelerated visible skin aging, increased sensitivity, and slower recovery from everyday environmental stress like sun exposure and pollution. Your face is exposed to more environmental stress than almost any other part of your body, and a weakened barrier means you have less natural defense against all of it. Now here's the part that matters most. The actual right way to wash your face. Start with lukewarm water, never hot. Just warm enough to feel comfortable, cool enough that it doesn't strip oil aggressively. This single change protects your barrier more than almost anything else on this list, and it costs you nothing. Next, use a gentle, pH-balanced facial cleanser, not bar soap, not body wash. You're looking for something labeled gentle or hydrating, ideally without sulfates, since sulfates are the ingredient most responsible for that harsh, stripped feeling after washing. You don't need a complicated 10-step routine. One good cleanser, used correctly, beats 5 mediocre products used carelessly. Apply it with your fingertips, not a washcloth, not a brush, not a scrubbing pad. Gentle, circular motions for about 30 seconds is genuinely enough. You're not trying to sand your face down. You're trying to lift away dirt, sweat, and oil without tearing at the barrier underneath. Rinse thoroughly, then, and this is the step almost every man skips, pat your face dry with a clean towel instead of rubbing. Rubbing creates the same kind of micro-friction we talked about earlier, even with a soft towel. And finally, apply a moisturizer within about 60 seconds of finishing. That window matters because your skin is most receptive to retaining moisture right after washing, while it's still slightly damp. A simple, non-greasy moisturizer with ingredients like ceramides or hyaluronic acid helps rebuild exactly the barrier we've been talking about this entire video. As for frequency, twice a day is the sweet spot for most men. Once in the morning, once at night. If you've been working out or sweating heavily, a quick rinse afterward is fine, but you don't need a full cleanse session every single time you sweat. What kind of results should you actually expect, and how fast? This isn't an overnight fix, but it's also not a slow one. Most men notice less tightness and less visible dryness within the first 1 to 2 weeks of switching to this method. By around the 4-week mark, texture typically starts to even out, and that dull, tired look begins to fade because the barrier has had enough consistent time to actually rebuild. Give it 8 to 12 weeks, and most men report their skin looking noticeably more youthful, more even, and more resilient to things like wind, cold weather, or long days outside, because a strong barrier handles environmental stress far better than a damaged one. But here's the mistake that undoes everything we just talked about, and almost nobody catches it. You can do every single step perfectly. Lukewarm water, gentle cleanser, soft hands, proper moisturizer, and still sabotage all of it if you're using a towel that's been sitting damp in your bathroom, harboring bacteria, and you're wiping that same bacteria-loaded fabric across your face every single day. A dirty towel can reintroduce the exact irritation and breakouts you're trying to eliminate. Wash your face towels regularly, ideally every few days, and you close the loop on everything we just covered. Let's bring this together. 3 things to remember. First, hot water, harsh soap, and aggressive scrubbing are quietly destroying your skin barrier every single day. And a damaged barrier accelerates visible aging through inflammation and collagen breakdown. Second, the fix is simple. Lukewarm water, a gentle pH balance cleanser, soft fingertip application, pat drying and moisturizing immediately afterward. Third, consistency beats intensity. You don't need 10 products, you need the right 2 or 3, used the right way, every single day. This information isn't meant to replace advice from an actual dermatologist, especially if you're dealing with persistent acne, eczema, or other skin conditions. In those cases, a professional can give you something tailored to your specific skin. But for the average man simply trying to stop accidentally aging his own face through bad habits, what we covered today is the foundation that actually works. So here's what I want you to do. Drop a comment and be honest with yourself. Are you washing with hot water right now? Scrubbing harder than you need to? Skipping moisturizer because you think it's not for you? Let's see how many of you I'm actually talking about in this video. Subscribe if this helped you see your routine differently, and take care of that face. It's the one thing about you that everyone sees first, every single day, for the rest of your life.